this is Megan from Little Hot Tamale, and today we are going to create a scrapbook layout based off of this sketch. To start off with, we are going to choose a photo, and then we're going to pull colors from the photo. Okay, so I'm going to use a lime green because that is in the foliage in the background. And this is just scrapbook paper. Well, actually it's cardstock and it's scrap paper. And I'm just going to do wide strokes back and forth until my brush runs out of watercolor, and then I'm just going to repeat that process. And the reason we're doing this is because we're going to create some giant letters for our scrapbook layout. And then while that dries, we're going to take a ruler and make a diagonal line on our page, just like the sketch. On the top half of my 12 by 12 layout, I want to add some splatters, and you can use color shine, acrylic paint, or you can use watercolor. And I'm using Heidi Swapp Color Shine in black, velvet, and a pink shade. And I tried to use some scrap paper on the bottom half to protect my area, but it didn't work very well. But that's okay, I'm just gonna roll with it. Okay, so my watercolor pages are dry, so I'm just going to sketch out my letters. And I'm just going to create some block letters with pencil lightly, and then I'm going to go over it with either a Sharpie pen or a Micron, or you can use any kind of pen you want. And I just kind of want this to be nice and kind of sketchy and kind of carefree. If you would like a lettering tutorial in the future, just let me know in the comments section and I can create one of those. Okay, so like I said, it's just an outline, and then I'm just doing some rough lines inside of the letter. Then you can erase the pencil marks, your original lines, or you can just add some more like I did. I was going to erase them, but I was kind of afraid it was going to ruin my watercolor background because I'm not using watercolor paper. And then just cut out the letters roughly. Okay, so this is a fun part. We're going to take all kinds of scrapbook supplies and create diagonal lines. And we're just going to meet the pencil line that we started in the beginning and work our way to the edge of the paper. So go get your supplies and dig out some items that you rarely use. So I pulled some washi tape, rickrack ribbon, sequin ribbon, crepe paper. What else did I use? You can also hand draw your own background. That's another option. Maybe you glue buttons in a row. Seriously, you can do anything. Okay, so this is a perfect opportunity to talk about the sketch that we're working with today. It's actually part of the Little Hot Tamale sketch challenge that I host on my Instagram. At the beginning of each month, I post a inspiration sketch, and today's inspiration sketch is by Gina, and she's on the Little Hot Tamale Creative Squad. You have all month to participate, so you can create your layout and then you post it on Instagram with the hashtag LHTsketch, and at the end of the month I will randomly choose a winner, and you will get a free collection or digital collection from the Little Hot Tamale shop. So I thought it would be something fun for everyone to do, and because I absolutely love sketches. Okay, so back to the layout. I'm using terrifically tacky tape or sticky thumb, and I'm placing it down, and I'm taking my crepe paper and making a ruffle with it. So you just kind of place it down, and then you lift up the paper, and then place it down and lift up the paper. Looks like an accordion. And then I'm just using a variety of washi tape and ribbon, like I mentioned earlier. And this is actually tiny washi tape, and it is from Joann's. And I want to say it's called Little Bee. It's a new product that they're carrying. Alright. And then some sequin ribbon. And I want to say thank you, Irene for my ribbon. I'm finally using it on the scrapbook layout. I've been kind of hoarding it because I loved it so much. And it's okay if your ribbon or whatever you decide to use isn't straight. Once you have everything on your layout, you won't notice it at all. So just kind of go with the flow and just go with it. Okay, so that background part looks nice to me, but if you don't want to do all this work, you can always just use a patterned piece of paper. Is to mat our picture, and I chose a black piece of cardstock, and I'm just going to tear off the edges to give it some extra texture. And I used to do this all the time when I first started scrapbooking. Alright, and I think it looks awesome. And then we're just taking some Little Hot Tamale product. It's actually from the Taco Tuesday collection, and I'm cutting it in sections to use as layering. I really like this Project Life card because it reminds me of the print on Alfredo's shirt. And I'm just cutting it like an L, well, a backwards L, and placing it behind the corner. And I'm just saving that piece for later on. This step is optional, but I thought it'd be nice to have a bold diagonal through the page. And I also wanted to cover up the raw edges of all the ribbon and crepe paper and washi tape that I adhered to the page. If you're using a ribbon or something similar to it, I recommend gluing the center part first and then working your way out. So that way you can have a better lineup, I guess you'd say. It's so much easier. When I started on the corner, I kind of made it lopsided, so that's why it ripped it off. And then in the sketch picture, there was a doily, or something similar to a doily. So I placed that on the corner. And then to make the sup, that sounds so silly, sup, stand out on the page, I'm just making a little bracket, just freehanded. And then I'm going to use some watercolor to fill it in. But if you don't have watercolor, you can use markers. And if you don't want to use a bracket, you don't have to. You can actually make a circle and cut it in half. Or just maybe a bracket. Did I just say bracket? I don't know what I said. Don't listen to me. Just use watercolor and do what you want. Okay, so I placed that there. And then I'm using some embellishments from the new Taco Tuesday collection, and I'll leave the link down below if you want to check it out. This is a fun idea that I like to use sometimes. If you have letters that are filled in, for example, the letter P or B, the inside section, you can always write out a word or a year and place that in the section that is supposed to be cut out. So for the P in my title, I'm going to put the year. And I'm also using some watercolor background, and I just typed my little story on it, and I cut that in strips, and I'm just going to glue that on the page. If you don't have a typewriter, you can always hand write it. And these are some handmade crepe paper rosettes, and if you don't know how to make them, I have a few tutorials on how to make them. So I'll leave a link down below for those. And these are just some stamped images from Heidi Swap. And I couldn't decide if I wanted to use the round one or the rectangle one. I just kept going back and forth, back and forth. Tighten up the stamped images. I'm going to add a little bit of thread behind it, so it's going to be the messy thread look. So I'm just going to add a little bit of sticky thumb tape, and then place the messy thread on the sticky thumb tape, and then place it on my rosette. And then above the picture, I wanted to create another cluster like the sketch. So I'm using a crepe paper rosette, and I'm layering a nacho problem phrase on top of a little strip of paper, and then I punched out a glitter star and I chose silver to match the silver thread behind the stamped image. It'd be fun to add a little bit of dimension to my scrapbook layout. And to do this, I used some foam tape, and it's actually tape that you can find at Walmart for, I think it's for picture frames actually. Yeah, it's called mounting tape. There you go. Okay, so we're going to add some foam tape to the back of the beginning of our journaling, and mine says Summer Vibes, and I backed that with glitter paper and the remaining part of the Project Life card that we used earlier. And I also added foam tape to the back of all of the journaling. And I tried to stagger each row of journaling. Okay, so now we're going to add some more embellishing. So I have 3 crepe paper rosettes, and I tried to make a triangle so that your eye can go from one point to another. And then I also tried to do the same thing with the glitter stars. I made a triangle, so you start at the top, and then you go to the middle, and then you go to the bottom. This helps create movement for your layout. Alright, so we're almost done. I think it needs just a little bit more sparkle. So I'm using star sequins, and I'm attaching them with glossy accents. And I love using glossy accents because I feel like that is the most permanent way to attach sequins. And I'm just adding them here and there on the top section only. And I'm also going to add a little bit of chunky glitter. So I'm just using my glossy accents again. I'm just kind of doing a glob here and there, so kind of framing this up. And then next to different sections where the embellishments are. And I'm also including a few more sequins because, you know, there isn't enough on the page already. So this is a gold or a dull gold sequin that I found at Hobby Lobby. If you would like to participate in this month sketch challenge, use the hashtag LHTsketch on Instagram and you'll be entered for the giveaway at the end of the month. So thank you so much for watching again, and I hope you have an amazing day. Toodles!